You have to be an absolute fool to really know God and be a proud man. So this is what I was asking the Lord for, some supporting scriptures, right? And it took me no time. He took me straight to 1 Corinthians 2. Or 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 26. Brothers and sisters, consider who you were when God called you to salvation. Not many of you were wise scholars by human standards, nor were many of you in positions of power. Not many of you were considered the elite when you answered God's call. But God chose those whom the world considers foolish to shame those who think that they are wise. And God chose the puny and powerless to shame the high and mighty. He chose the lowly, the laughable in the world's eye, nobodies, so that he could shame the somebodies. For he chose what is regarded as insignificant in order to supersede what is regarded as prominent, so that there would be no place for prideful boasting in God's presence. For it is not from man that we draw life, but from God, as we are being joined to Jesus, the Anointed One. And now he is our God-given wisdom, our virtue, our holiness, and our redemption. And this fulfills what is written. If anyone boasts, let him only boast in all that the Lord has done. My gosh, that's not so crystal clear, right? So let me tell you guys, in all honesty, the first couple weeks I was really struggling. I'm like, oh, how will people receive me? I don't have degrees in theology. I'm not sent by any denomination. I can't tap into regional resources, right? This is how churches are started today. You come under a much larger denomination, and then within that denomination, you're kind of raised up, you're taught their theology, and then when you're ready to go, they launch you, they send leaders with you, they send resources with you. So here I come, showing up in Tyler, right? I was educated in the house of the Lord, in the pits of nowhere, right? With nothing, so that I don't boast in me. I am literally that guy he's talking about. I am that guy. So I dare not be proud before God. I told you guys, I find it almost impossible to not that I don't have pride. I keep a very close eye on it. But the Lord always told me, as I build you up and raise you up, don't ever get proud. Don't ever do it. I will resist you immediately. So, character trait number 4. Authority is not lording, but serving. Authority is not lording, but serving. Okay? It does not mean I'm your pastor. I'm the leader of this group. I'm the leader of the prayer group. Listen to what I say, right? So this is why we're not going to have leadership for a while. God's going to you guys will be operating in whatever God wants you to operate in. It will be so blatantly obvious. God will have already promoted you. When I lay hands on you, it will just be an acknowledgement before men. But it's really the work of the Lord. And it becomes obvious. If you think you're a pastor, you're going to be operating like a pastor. You're going to be pastoring people with meekness, kindness, long-suffering. Not in error, but in wisdom and the power of the Holy Spirit. If you think you're an evangelist, you're going to be evangelizing. That's what you're going to be already doing. It'll be obvious to everyone. They'll start calling you what you are before we call you what you are. The fruit will be obvious. Point number 5. The 5th character trait of leadership. Delegated leadership. Delegated authority ought to sanctify God. Any human being is delegated authority. God is the authority. Man is delegated authority. So, the 5th character trait is you always ought to sanctify God. Meaning, you're not doing self-promotion. You're not promoting your ministry. You're not promoting your denomination. You're not promoting doctrine. You're promoting the Messiah. You're promoting the Messiah and the one who sent him and the one who came after him, the Holy Spirit. So, if God is not being worshipped, if you are not pointing people to Christ, right? In your life, in your conduct, and in your words, something's not in alignment. So, in the house I was raised up in, these things were mandatories. These weren't negotiables. You can't even get on a prayer team till you start exhibiting, some of this fruit. And you most certainly aren't getting into leadership until these things are evident. Now, these are ongoing processes, by the way. Doesn't mean that you have by any means arrived. Nobody arrives. But these are really fruits of God. No man can bear this fruit. You can't do it. Last time I checked, I can't extort and restore a man in my own strength, right? I can't not judge without the power of the Holy Spirit bringing meekness upon me, showing me my own heart, right? Things that need to die inside of me, right? Thus, don't try to take the twig, the toothpick out of somebody else's eye. Last time I checked, I'm a very, very proud, foolish person. And I only get meek through the presence and the power of God. That's what meeks me. It's not anything else but God's authority. I love to take control, at the very least, of my own life. This is back to point number 4. I love to take control. And I've had to learn the hard way in leadership that how to get in the same groove with God. While you don't really understand what's happening all the time, you can't see it. And our natural impulse is to control it so that we can see it and understand it. And it takes a temperament of breaking over seasons where you learn to just, not my will, Lord, but your will.
Stay in your lane.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time, stay in your lane. Yeah. So now, here's a bigger issue, though, with everyone here. Some of us don't know how to walk in authority. Some of us are trying to walk in authority without being yielded to God. It works both ways. So what we want to be a ministry, right, that, and mind you, I never intended to start a Sunday service. That was never my intent. I was trying to start a different type of ministry. But then as I began to realize that what was missing, I felt what God sent us to do was there wasn't enough intimacy. There wasn't enough intimacy in the culture to launch the ministry. So we have no choice. We have to start from scratch and create intimacy. And then once we create intimacy, we create unity. Once we create unity, we can now walk in authority. So we're going about it the long way. So my wife, where's my wife? Janelle. Isn't this funny? See, when you're small, you can do unorthodox stuff. You could just say whatever, kind of, without messing up the show, right? Once you get a lot of people, then it starts to get showy. Then it's like everything has to be timed and sequenced all perfect. And then right now, that's when then you be coming up to close the service or whatever, and like starting an altar call, and everybody like taking their cues. 5 minutes to, everybody getting their places. That's when it gets weird. That's when I just... Not that it can't be done with grace, but we need to mature into that. If getting it right all the time becomes the focus, we're going to lose the real heartbeat. So this is why we're creating a community first. Can you turn it off, Billy?
I don't know how to.
I don't even think it's on. Yeah, it is.
It is on.
I can turn the camera
Oh,
off.
we'll wait for Janelle. What I want to pray, I want everybody to pray right now. Quietly, not out loud. But, babe, can you turn that off real quick for me? The streaming?
I think I got it. I just turned the camera off.
Yeah.
That cool? Yeah, you're off.
So I was so fired up about this message. I thought that by the time I got to the end, like everybody would be